Hello, this is Telmir and welcome to another repair video. In this video, we are looking at this super busted up Samsung Galaxy A14. I believe it's the 4G version. I've already got the screen for it. Clearly, it needs a new screen. It is in very rough condition. So I'm going to show you how to get into it, because this case is a little bit different for the outside shell compared to many other Samsungs. And then I'm going to show you exactly how to do not a frame with screen replacement, but a screen replacement only, which is significantly different from doing a frame replacement with the screen. So to begin with, the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take out that SIM tray. If you don't take out the SIM tray, you're not going to be able to get the back cover off. Use one of these pry tools. They work well. It will, because they're made of plastic, it will prevent you from damaging the plastic. If you really just can't get in for the life of you, you can use yourself a metal pry tool like this. And I always like to start in right around that SIM tray because there's a weak spot. You can push in right there. But let's start off with just, the frame is already pretty beaten up, so I guess I could start off with the metal. But let me show you what you're doing with the plastic. You get it in there, and then once you get it in there, you just keep rubbing until you get it hooked underneath. And you just do that. You can hear the plastic, it's pulling away. That's the little clips. So that's one side. If you got the nails for it, you can dig in with your nails and then just go around. And if not, try to continue on with your pry tool. Now you also keep in mind that there is a ribbon cable right here. So be aware of that. You do not want to tear it, or it'll cost you an additional part. And that is frustrating. I've done it before, not with this particular model, but I have done it with a Motorola. You can see the ribbon, there it is. So there is a fair amount of space to work with, but do be gentle. What is this? It looks like some sort of oily substance. Bring out the screwdriver. I'm just looking at a standard Phillips 000. You got a bunch of screws to take out. I like to start off first with this so I can remove this and not worry about that little tiny ribbon cable. So let's get those screws out. There we are. Just pull it up. Give it a little bit of a wiggle and it should come out relatively easily. It feels like something's connected. Oh, it's the camera. Camera module was coming up right there. Now I can disconnect that button, put it to the side, disconnect. Before you take those cables out, you can take this out as well. Once you have the battery unplugged, now you can move on with disconnecting the cables that connect to the screen. There we go. Now to disconnect the screen, you do need to get into this section right here. So let's get those screws out as well. Just in case, I do like to separate the screws that are at the bottom, just in case they are slightly a different size from the top, because if they are a different size, you will destroy your screen. Now it's a little bit difficult to get this little plate off here, partly because I forgot to take one screw out. Let's get that out. There we are. But yeah, it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to get this shield out. Usually you can get, like right here is the speaker, so this is not a bad place to go. You just get the pry tool underneath there and it should pop up relatively easily. So you can see that's going down below. So this is all for the screen. At this point, the only thing that I'm really concerned about is these cameras. So I'm going to remove them and just put them somewhere safe. I do recommend putting them all in order. I do not believe with this particular phone that the cameras have the same connectors, but just in case, do put them in order. So my best option for getting this out is to put it on my heat pad, let it heat up. I usually put it to about 90 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that's in Fahrenheit. I bet it's probably vaguely, I'm going to say around maybe 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm probably wrong about that, but the other option, if you don't have a heating pad, is get out your heat gun and you're going to heat up the whole thing, just going around continuously, and you just keep touching the screen to see what temperature it's at. You don't want it to be to the point where it would burn you. You're just looking for hot to the touch. Okay, that's up to temperature. It's good and hot. I'm leaving my heat pad on just in case. I get the feeling that I'm going to have to get back in here. So there's a few different ways to get at this point in time, because there's glass shattered all over this. I'm going to put on some safety glasses. I do highly recommend, anytime you deal with broken glass, throw on some safety glasses. I do have Amazon affiliate links for many other pieces of the equipment that I use in my videos, all the way from precision steel tweezers to the screwdrivers that I use, and even the glue removers. But yeah, if there's anything in the video that you find would be of use to you, just check it out. I have most of my stuff there listed as Amazon affiliate links. I make a small commission off of those. Just for a reference, what the screen looks like. So yeah, you can see it has the screen itself, and then the glasses around the edges. I'm going to try taking this out. I'm going to take this little board out and see whether or not there is a space underneath it. These are usually either clipped in or glued in, so just be patient. That one was clipped in. Do we have a space? Yep, we do. We do have some space behind there. So I'm going to try pushing with the screwdriver. I got to let this heat up again. I'm going to try pushing from the back using the screwdriver and just push in that spot until a gap is created. Okay, let's give it another go. If this doesn't work, I'm going to try something else. So the spot I'm pushing is right here, that corner. Screwdriver, push down the mat there. You can see that portion, that space is being lifted. Okay, there we go. I'm going to dribble some alcohol on this side here. Even though it might help. There we have it. We're in. The question is, am I underneath the screen? Yes, I am. Very good. Okay. I can just use some picks. And now that we're behind, we can get in there a lot easier and start getting this screen out. It's going to be lots of alcohol. You might even consider using some latex gloves for a little bit of extra protection against the glass shards. Make sure you got your safety glasses on. You can tell there is going to be a lot of glass. I'm going to switch back to my pry tool, but I'm starting to get worried about glass shards. I'm going to grab those gloves. Just patience, alcohol, heat. Keep prying at it, and it will come out for you. Trying to, if possible, that's why I'm using this tool right now. I don't usually use it, but I'm just trying hard to not damage the frame if possible. Reason I don't use it is just because I don't usually have any success with them, but the screen is so deep with this one that the extra leverage is kind of helpful. Oh, I'm going to grab it with my tweezers because I'm worried about glass coming off my gloves. This is a little cup. It's a little cup that is there that goes over the lens. That's what that's for. It's for the face cam. I'm going to put that over to the side. Don't want to lose that. When you start feeling a lot of resistance, you've got two options. I'd say that both are good just to do. Add more alcohol, add some heat. In this occasion, I'm just adding alcohol because I don't think it's that bad. Right along the edge where you know it's going to seep into the spot where the glue is. Alright, that's out. I'm going to give that earpiece just a little bit of a clean, just with my brush. Now we're just looking for any adhesive that's remaining. There's a little bit down here. I don't think there is any left. All of it came away pretty easily. So it's just going to be a matter of getting a cotton swab in there and give it a clean. We've got this little bit here. You might find it's helpful to use the razor blade at this point just to get these little pieces of glass out. All I'm going to do is just soak it in alcohol. I'm going to put the phone over the garbage and I'm going to go scoop that glass out with this, just giving it a scrape like this. Okay, there we go. Just going through this with the tweezers just to loosen up the dirt. And I'm going to go over with, doesn't matter if it's a little bit dirty, I'm just going to do an initial cleaning and then I'm going to use another cotton swab just to clean up the excess remaining. Just give it a really good scrub. You also want to take a look around inside the frame. You're looking for any pieces of glass that might be left over. If there is any glass, like a little glass shard that's sitting around in the inside, you don't want that. You want to get rid of that. And the reason is because if that glass shard is sitting there and there's a little bit of pressure that is put on the screen, it could cause the screen to break. Okay, clean swab, one last cleaning. Fill that up with some isopropyl alcohol. I'm using 99%. You don't want to go any lower than 91%. Otherwise you risk causing water damage to your electronics. Let's put the screen in immediately. Not going to fully install it. You need to test the screen first, and the reason is because once it's in, it's in. So once it's in, you're not going to be able to send the product back saying, hey, this thing's defective. You need to make sure that it's fully functioning before you fully install it. Also do a cursory inspection of the part, the new part. Take a look to see if there is any damage to the screen, any marks on the back, any impact marks, any damage to the cable, anything like that. It looks good. I think it's okay. So I'm going to slip it in. You have also this other cable. Maybe I should bend that down first. You gotta get this little guy positioned. See that slipping in like there? Just like that. We don't have any adhesive going in right now, so this should be easy going. Looks like it slipped out. Let's try that again. Now we can go and put this board back in. I don't recommend pushing this board back into place. Don't put much pressure on it. You don't want to clip it in place. You don't want to put any pressure on the screen in its current form. So I'm holding the edge of the screen, the frame, to push this connector in. And that should do that for now. I don't think it really matters to connect the antenna up just yet, but now you get those cables reconnected. Hold the edges once again of the screen, not the back of the screen, and then push that connector into place. Battery's plugged in. Cameras are not plugged in, clearly, but at this point we should be able to test. So let's press the power button. We're going to do a few tests. We're going to see that it's lit up. We are going to look for blemishes. And we're going to try out the Digitizer. We want to make sure that there is no issues with the Digitizer. If there is any at all, we will have to order another one. So far so good. It looks very nice. 8% battery isn't much though. Okay, so we've got that nice background of nothingness from the browser. I don't see any issues at all. It looks very clean, very clear. Let's try out the Digitizer. One of the fastest ways to do this is just pick up an icon, move it around, and you're just dragging all over the screen to see if there is any blank spots in the Digitizer. If there is one blank spot at all, it will immediately disconnect the pen or your finger from the icon, and the icon will fall wherever it is, as if you suddenly just pulled your finger or your stylus away from the screen. So obviously this Digitizer is working fine though, but that's what would happen if you're looking for dead spots. Okay, we know the screen works. It's doing exactly what I expect it to be doing. We got to take the screen out now, and we're going to be putting in some new adhesive. The screen doesn't have any adhesive that came with it, so we got to build our own adhesive inside of the frame. And the adhesive I'm going to use is 1mm, I think it's called M3. Measuring it out in advance. Don't try to tear this. It doesn't tear well. I recommend snipping it. And I always just fold it to the side when I'm doing this. There we go. See, then you don't lose it again inside that tiny gap. And then start off from the side here. I always use glue afterwards for the corners. I have tried in the past to make adhesive sit in the corners, but it never works properly, so I've given up. Once you get to those corners there, you can either use a razor blade or like a box cutter, or use the blade you use to get into the phone. And you just slice through that adhesive. And just be careful not to slice yourself. It's going to be really hard for this little spot in the top around the earpiece. You also don't want to cover up this sensor over here, but you don't want to get any glue around that. So you can't use the E8000 glue. Gosh, this is fiddly. Okay, there we go. I got it. I might give it a little bit of a clean just in case with a cotton swab. And I left a whole bunch of little fibers behind. Of course I did, because there's always adhesive around these parts. I should have known about that. Okay, that's a good reminder. If you're trying to clean around a lens, instead of using a cotton swab, because I usually do this, I'm not sure why I did that, use one of these cloths instead. You just get in there. Or you can even put it like this over the spot and then use the Q-tip like that. Q-tip or whatever you want to call this thing. Cotton swab. Once that's done, it should be nice and shiny. And I got all those fibers out of the way. Good. I'm going to put a little bit more material along this side right here. I don't need a lot. Just like that. Very good. Now I'm going to finish up the rest of this, get the rest of the adhesive in, and I'll show you the final steps. Alright, I've got all the backing off of the adhesive. So just remember where we've put adhesive for this. You can see it along here. And I gotta be really careful about that spot right there around that. So I'm gonna put in the adhesive for that in advance, just for that spot. And I might even use something to just make sure that it doesn't get near it. But yeah, you just want to go and put a little bit of adhesive around this. It is going to kind of squash out. Once it dries, then you can get it out afterwards. I mean, you also notice that there's little bits of material that come off, glue strands. Just pull it away from the area where the camera is going to be. You don't want any of that settling into that area. Now I'm going to use my razor blade. No, I have some sim ejector tools I can use for this. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to move it along this little spot right here because I need to get that glue moved a little bit in this area here. Have that glue in all the corners. Slip these in. Now I can fit this into place. I always like to start off with the top of the screen first. Oh, it's popped out from the bottom there for the cable. You'll notice it's off kilter. Use a plastic spudger just to push it back in place, and just let it sit into place there as cozy as you possibly can. Sitting very, very nice, very flush. Perfect. Look at that. And you can now push these back in. I'm not being careful with holding the screen anymore from the back. Even I still like to use the frame to add pressure instead of the back of the screen, just in case. But it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter that much at this point. It's just good habit. We can put this back in, snap it in place as well. It slots into the charge port notch. Push down, there's a little crunch indicating it's now seated properly. Final connector, and then get that antenna reconnected. You'll see this little bit of a ripple here. It will be looked after. It gets pushed in and it should be okay. So I don't need to worry about that. Let's get our plates back in place. Just remember, there is glass on this. There's a small amount of glass shards. I'm going to put the screen protector back on just to protect the screen so I don't get any scratches on it. I can put it back on my bench now to work. But this can't go on. I'm going to give this a quick cleaning. All these are little squares of paper towel that I cut up. I just coat them in a bit of alcohol so that I can wipe up whatever the heck this stuff is. You see there? All that? I think it's oil. Maybe it collected from the person's hand. It's the only thing I can think about what it might potentially be. Very odd. That cleaned up well. Now we can get these plugged in. This needs to go in. And before you can continue on with this, you need to connect, before you put this on, you need to reconnect that power button. You don't want to go through all this, get that power button. Also, you got the cameras you got to put in as well. I'm going to start with the camera that goes right here, the very smallest, and work my way up. Okay, for this last one, what I like to do with it, because you remember that little gasket, that little rubbery silicone gasket thing, this little guy, it was sitting there inside the screen. Put it on first, onto the lens, and then after that, get the screen set on an angle so you're not getting it falling out. Then you can put the lens in and then plug it in, just like that. You can see there the lens is showing quite clearly, just making it a little bit easier. There we go. All the cameras are in place. We're going to connect up that power button. I think it's actually the fingerprint reader, but it goes over the same spot where the power button is, so close enough. Doesn't look like there's any dust in the back of these, but once again, if there is any dust or anything like that on the back of these lenses, you can just, once again, take your cotton swab, put it over top, give it a rub around. Next, rub like this. Now we can finally put this in place and get the rest of this job done. So I'm going to continue putting screws into this, but I just want to show you, this is pretty easy to put in as well. You just need to push it down like that and it snaps into place just the same as the other. Get your screws in, and that bit is good. Okay, we're on the final stretch. We got our screws in. We've got those shields back in place. It's just a matter of pushing this all back together. Push it in from either the top or the bottom. Once you got it all lined up there, you should be able to push it all back together. And for the final step, the SIM tray. There we go. Turn it on. That's how to do a screen replacement for Samsung Galaxy A14 4G edition. So if you guys like the video, please do leave a like. And if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video. Bye.